views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts, guests, and contributors, and do not reflect the official views of Real TV, its management, or affiliates. Content is provided for informational and entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised.
To all of our local, regional and international viewers, thank you kindly for choosing us here on Real TV, where we bring reality to you. This is where I say a very warm welcome to another edition of the program Conversations with Zelisa, where we continue to inform, educate, empower and answer those unanswered questions. I am Zelisa Rupani, humbly inviting you to sit back, relax, enjoy, get your pen, get your notebook, Real TV, so you can take notes and important numbers that will be helpful for you and your loved ones. Directing this morning and in Master Control, Nathaniel Reed. On behalf of the team, I'd like to wish each and every one of you a terrific day today. Happy Tuesday. A little overcast in the San Juan area, but it's a beautiful day, all right? Happy Tuesday, 16th June 2026. A gentle reminder that it is a day and time we'll never have the opportunity to ever have again in life. So let's make the best of it, all right? If you're celebrating a birthday, happy birthday. If it's your anniversary, happy anniversary to you and yours. That's someone special. Let me remind you, tomorrow is not promised, so take advantage of this beautiful, blessed day, all right? Let's go to our quote of today, coming to us with the kind compliments of Fab India Expo, and our quote says, "So much of our future lies on preserving our past." Understanding our past is understanding who we truly are. They're the roots, So much of our future lies on preserving our past. Thank you for that, Nathaniel. That came to us with the kind compliments of Fab India Expo. Let's go to their ad.
Looking for something truly unique this season? Then you need to visit Fab India Expo, located opposite Medford Gas Station, Shogunas. Brand new containers have just arrived, packed with one-of-a-kind garments you won't find anywhere else. Whether you're shopping for something stylish, traditional, or custom-made, we've got you covered with made-to-order pieces tailored just for you. And it doesn't stop there. Take a stroll through our full food court, offering delicious options for the entire family. From savory bites to sweet treats, there's something for everyone. Plus, don't miss our big sale on furniture. Upgrade your home with beautiful pieces at unbeatable prices. So come on down to the Fab India Expo, located opposite Medford Gas Station, Shogunas, where culture, style, and savings come together.
Welcome back to Conversations with Zelisa. To all of our local, regional, international viewers, all those of you on Tego, the app, remember to download it. It's absolutely free, and you could watch Real TV. You could take Real TV with you real time, anytime, so you're part of our dynamic programming across the day, all right? And of course, all those of you in Canada on the Caribbean Showtime Television, thank you so much for choosing us. Today, I'm in conversation with Mr. Richard A.J. Ramirez. He is a photographer, publisher, and he's here to talk about preserving our culture. Good morning and a warm welcome.
Good morning, Zelisa, and thank you so very much for inviting me to join in the conversation.
You're more than welcome, and it's going to be a dynamic conversation because it's really about understanding who we are. And if we don't understand who we are, our roots, our foundation, sometimes we can't focus. We don't really know the true value of who we are and why we're here.
That is so very true. And I think it's easy for us to get distracted in the noise of life and forget how special we are and how special a place we live in. So, this for me is a joy. It is a real joy and a pleasure to be able to spend significant portions of my time talking to people, showing them, the beauty of us. We are not crime. We are not murder. We are not all those things that we keep being bombarded with. Yeah. We are much greater than that.
I'm quite happy that you said that, because that is the truth. We are beyond that. And if we focus on the negative, that, like you say, we're constantly bombarded with, we really lose that sense of belonging, being part of and understanding our rich culture. And I think that is what sets Trinidadians and Tobagoans apart from the world or the others, is that we are really unique, we're very special, and there's a combination of different cultures, you know, like a nice callaloo, tasty
That-
callaloo.
That is so true. You know, I spent probably about 20 years of my life outside of Trinidad.
Yeah.
So, you know, in doing that, I think I learned an even greater appreciation for Trinidad. And for me, Trinidad is an active choice. You have to choose Trinidad or you will never appreciate it and enjoy it. It must be a choice that you make, and you have to make that choice every day. Yes, bad things may happen. Yes, you may be unhappy with something or someone, but does that really take away from what Trinidad and Tobago is and what
Very,
it should
very
mean
true.
to us?
More so that we are in the middle of a storm, in the sense that with all that is happening in the country and the little division that I see that's trying to poke at people. And so some people may not feel as if Trinidad is their home or the right fit for them. They feel not grounded, they feel not part of, they feel disenchanted. And that is very sad. And it's people like your good self who is going to fight to understand that we respect and love who we are and we embrace all.
Correct. You know, we get lost in the noise every day, and that feeling you were just describing there, that's what the noise does to us. The noise distracts us from our beauty. Think about it. We could literally get into a car and be at a wonderful beach somewhere in this country within half an hour to an hour, you know, on any day of the week. Right? We call and we tell the boss, I'm not feeling so good today. But what you really mean is you need to recharge your Trinidad and Tobago batteries. And you go do that. I mean, people spend huge sums of money to come visit places like Trinidad and Tobago.
Absolutely true. I would say Tobago is like a slice of heaven, absolutely beautiful. And you know, you said something earlier on that is so true, Mr. Ramirez, and that is, it's only like you've had the experience to live abroad and travel the world, and I have as well. I think that's a blessing that I could see, that I've experienced going to different countries and different cultures, you know, being part of that. But the truth is, there's no place like home.
Absolutely.
That feeling when you're in that plane and you're heading and you know that you reach Trinidad and you can look out that window, there is a feeling that in your soul you feel a relief, I'm going home.
Yeah, I almost cannot describe the excitement within my soul when I knew it was time to go home. I would be in one country or the other for several months or even a couple years at a time. And when you knew you were going home, even if it was for a short visit, there's a level of excitement that starts building, and you almost don't want to pack your suitcase. Forget about that. I don't need those things. I need to get on that
Just
plane.
need to get home.
Correct.
Home sweet home.
But
I want to talk a little bit about, so you are a photographer, you've written some books, and now you are fighting to keep our culture alive, to preserve it. More importantly, I think our children should know and understand, it should be taught in schools about culture, you know. Let's go down to where it all began for you and you choosing that path.
well, you know, I'm not sure that I really chose that path as much as that path chose me.
Chose you, yeah.
I tell people very often, you know, don't waste time looking for your passion. Your passion is going to come and find you. Wherever you are, it'll find you when the time is right. I always had a love for photography, but as a young guy growing up, you know, things weren't necessarily aligning for me to get into photography in my early life. I went to St. Mary's College, and we had a photography club in St. Mary's. But at that time, my parents were putting 3 kids through school. I understood as a young person how challenging that was financially. Both my parents were working class, and for me to even dream of asking them to buy a camera for me was completely out of the question. It wasn't a question that I ever asked them because I didn't want to put them in that position.
Oh, very, very
So,
kind and considerate as a young man. Huh?
Well,
Understanding the position that you felt like you didn't want to pressure them.
correct. It's
Yeah.
about understanding the reality. When
Yeah.
I grew up among wealthy children, going to St. Mary's and so on. And I never once felt like I was missing anything because my parents ensured that we had clean clothes. We always had food on the table. And they convinced us that we were a middle-class family growing up.
Yeah.
Much later in life, I recognized that we didn't have this and we didn't have that, but I didn't miss it. I absolutely did not miss it because my parents and my extended family, my aunts, my uncles, took the time to ensure that, we felt like we belonged anywhere we went.
Nice.
So I missed out on that opportunity of becoming part of the photography club in St. Mary's. I guess it's partially through choice. But I had a great childhood. I had a great life as a young man growing up. And much later on in life, I got the opportunity to start traveling the world for work. I came out of the oil and gas industry, and I was all over the planet. The only two continents I haven't been on to was Antarctica and Australia. Ordinarily, I would never have been able to afford to do that type of travel for myself, but work took me where I maybe wanted to go, maybe I needed to go, to see what the rest of the world looked like.
It was all in God's master plan, perhaps.
It absolutely was,
Yes.
And so it was years later, after doing a lot of travel, that it suddenly hit me one day. You're visiting all these amazing places, and you can tell people the stories, but you really don't have a lot of photos that you can show them, because I didn't have a camera. I didn't think to buy a camera. It just never occurred to me. So it was right around that time I was going for a vacation to Brazil. I was going to go into the Amazon rainforest for a couple of weeks.
What an experience.
Yeah, no, that was really phenomenal. But I said that, you know what? Now is the time to go buy a camera. So I stopped off in Miami, and I purchased my first DSLR camera, which was an Olympus at the time. Got on the plane to Sao Paulo, and on that 9-hour flight, I read the manual. So when I landed, I was a photographer, or at least so I was convinced.
Yes.
So we connected into Rio, and I started using the camera, and all it really takes is a few good shots to encourage you, And trust me, they were good shots, but they were lucky shots. When my first weekend in Rio, Red Bull had an air race where they have these planes going through these inflatable poles and so on, so they're kind of flying all over, and I got some really, really great shots, and I was hooked. It's like, all right, you really can do this thing.
Yeah.
And that's where the whole photography thing started off, So as I tell people, what I am now really kind of started with a single photo, just one photo that I was excited about, and that excitement has not died down as yet.
It takes that one thing, that one thing to take us to another level, or understand that this door is now open for me, and I can now blossom.
Yeah, well, the biggest fire starts with a single spark.
Very true. This is a program, Conversations with Zelisa, right here on Real TV, where we bring reality to you. Let's go to these important messages. When we return, we continue our conversation. Stay with us.
It's Bridging the Gap with Naka, hosting every Monday to Friday, 12 to 2 p.m. right here on Real TV, where we talk about the current issues and we get into the nitty-gritty of social issues. Stay tuned right here on Real TV.
Are you looking for the right space for your business? Fred's Plaza has the space you need. We offer professional rental spaces designed for growing businesses. Conveniently located in San Juan on the Eastern Main Road, opposite the PTSC terminal and between Royal Castle and Mario's. Easy access, high visibility. For inquiries, call or WhatsApp 868-384-7142 today, or visit Level 3 Fred's Plaza for details.
In a world full of noise, choose clarity. The Real News digital publication is your choice for important news coverage. From influential figures shaping our nation to a powerful week in review that keeps you informed. The weekly edition is available for download on all of our social media platforms. Smart, sharp, essential. Real News digital publication. Stay informed, stay educated, stay empowered. Welcome back to Conversations with Zelisa right here on Real TV, where we bring reality to you. To the 3 million plus viewers, thank you. You've made it possible, and I ask you to like and share because it's great information. Knowledge is power. When we have knowledge, we make better choices, all right? And of course, that's going to be a better future, not just for us, but for our children. Speaking of our future and our children, it is important that our children feel as if they're part of something, understand what sets them apart is how unique and special they are. And that is the different cultures that we embrace here in Trinidad and Tobago that makes us so special. Today I'm in conversation with Mr. Richard Ramirez, and he's talking about how we could preserve our culture. So you got that first camera. Brazil was the first experience that certainly took you to another level.
It absolutely did. And through the next few years, I did a lot of travel, and I got to see some amazing places and capture a lot of them. One of the funny stories I give was when I lived in South Korea. I was there for about 2 years, and one weekend I took an excursion up into the mountains to go visit a shrine.
Yeah.
Now, bear in mind that I was functionally illiterate in South Korea. I could not read or write a word. So I got up to the shrine and I was walking through, and it's like a shrine and a museum set up in one, taking a lot of photos of various things within the glass cases and so on. And I thought, well, I'd let my young ladies in the office when I got back on Monday explain what it was to me, because each glass case had a little label on it. So I took those photos and I got back to the office on Monday morning, and I proudly called my assistant over and I said, take a look at these. And she was just beside herself with laughter. She called all the other ladies and they were laughing and speaking in Korean. I said, what is it? They said, Richard, every photo you took has a sign that says, no photography, please. So those are some of the funny things that happen, through the years.
Experiences that
Correct.
stay a lifetime with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So eventually I got back home. I returned home to settle myself here. And having already been properly bitten by the photography bug, I continued doing my photography in Trinidad. Now the focus was Trinidad, and when I do get across to Tobago, I would do the same over there. And I started capturing images and locations and sharing it to social media or sharing it with a number of friends. And very often the question was, where is that? And I said, I don't understand your question. This is somewhere that you pass every day. But, we tend to see places, but you have to take everything in context. When you see a building, for example, and right next to it there's this derelict car on one side and a dumpster on the other side, it sort of takes away from the building. But as a photographer, when I close it in a little bit and I say, okay, look where I want you to see, all of a sudden it's, wow, that building is beautiful, because the noise is gone. So that's what I started doing. People would ask me and I would explain to them the significance of some of the images and so on. And then I said, all right, you know what? When I'm going to post images now, I'm going to post a little bit of a write-up to explain it to people up front, because other people may be wondering, but not asking. And the following got larger and larger, and people were asking more questions. And I said, all right, well, you know what? Maybe I should put this into a book, create a book so that people will know, but also it'll be there for future generations.
Yeah.
People are going to know 50 years from now what this place looked like at this time. You know, I have a 10-year-old nephew named Harvey Gibbons, and Harvey is really the apple of my eye. I will do anything for him. But I want to make sure that he doesn't just remember Uncle Richard. He remembers what Uncle Richard was trying to capture for him and for people of his generation, because they are our future.
Absolutely true.
You know, it may sound a little harsh, but you and I both have more years behind us than we have in front of us.
Absolutely true.
You know, and we have to recognize that if we are going to preserve what we are and the essence of being Trinbagonian, we have to depend on the other generations to take it on board, and we have to get them interested in it. So we start off with some books. So I started doing this one book. It's Historical Buildings and Landmarks of Trinidad and Tobago. And I got into the book and I was really enjoying it. And then I said, oh boy, I have too much for one book here. So I'm going to have to, you know, cut it off here, and I'll make a second volume. So I printed the first one, and you know, it was well received. Many people purchased it and so on, and a lot of people call me and say, we use this now as our weekend guide. We take our family on field trips and so on based on your book.
Beautiful.
You know? So I said, all right, well, let's get going on number 2. So I went on and I published number 2. And I still hadn't used up all my images because there was just so much more to see and talk about in Trinidad. Each book has 52 locations in it. And you would think that with
52 locations.
You would think with 104 locations, that's kind of covered Trinidad and Tobago. We have not. We have so much beauty here. So I'm working on the third volume of that book now, and I have been for some time. But I tend to get distracted. So while doing that and speaking with people and so on, I recognize that there are other things that we need to be talking about. And you know, if we don't talk about things, we're not going to preserve them because we're not going to see the importance.
So what are the other things we need to be talking about?
Well, the things that we grew up with that are not here anymore or very, very difficult to find. And I did a book on that, which I called The Vanishing Arts of Trinidad and Tobago, Vanishing Arts and Traditions. When I started work on it, I called it The Dying Arts and Traditions. And then I said, stop. Dying has such a negative connotation. It's not that these skills are dying, you know. We have evolved as a society. And we've evolved, for example, one of the things we used to do, on a Sunday afternoon, we're on the back step churning ice cream. You go down to the ice factory and you buy block ice.
Boy.
Drop it in there, put some salt in, you're taking turns churning.
Coconut ice cream.
Correct. And there was no other taste like it. So if we wanted ice cream, the family got together on Sunday afternoon and we churned ice cream. But we stopped doing that. There are probably some people who still do it, but it's very rare to find.
Yeah.
And it's because we have evolved to where we can go into the grocery now. And we have 15 different brands with about 20 different flavors in each brand. So we have an aisle of ice cream. So that has gone away. The wire bending we did at carnival time for all these beautiful costumes. That is a skill that is going away in large part because materials have evolved. We now have fiberglass rods and so on that can do some of the work of the wire, you know, and be lighter, be more flexible. So it's not that the arts have died, it's just that we've evolved past
We've evolved.
it. You know?
And the thing is, you know, change is constant. It's the only thing that's constant, and it is inevitable. So I understand and we embrace change, but I also stand with you firm and say, let's appreciate our past. let's appreciate these things that you say that we often take for granted. You know, go to the supermarket, like you say, any ice cream, you could pick up any flavor, you could pick up at any cost because they're different costs, yeah? But the beauty of sitting with a pail with all of the children and grandchildren together, turning that, the jokes, the joy of scooping and having, it's certainly different.
Correct.
It's certainly a different connection and feeling than just opening a tub of ice cream and sharing. It's being part of the art, but embracing that and also spending quality time, quality moments.
Correct. It's not about the product, it's the experience.
It's the experience, exactly.
And this is why I put that book together, to remind people of where we came from, what we used to do, and more importantly, why we used to do it. It wasn't just that we wanted ice cream. We wanted some family time.
Quality time.
You know,
where are those days?
yeah, well,
We've gone past that.
They've gone, but we can now evolve in the same way that our products have evolved. We ourselves can evolve to where we can find new ways to really spend family time, not just looking down at our screens all day, every day. We can get out there and do that, do something different. You know, one of the characters in that book, The Vanishing Arts and Traditions of Trinidad and Tobago, is the guy that used to come into my village selling ice lollies. He was an old Indian guy, pants just down to his knees and a pair of boots on. And he would come around the corner ringing this bell, and he was selling pallets as we knew it in those days.
Especially on a Sunday evening.
Well, and when we heard those bells, I have two siblings, an older brother and a younger sister. We heard those bells at the corner, and we lost our minds, because that meant the pallet man is in the street.
Yes.
And we would be scrambling around the house looking for coins so we could run out and buy one. And, you know, you would unwrap it. It was wrapped in paper at the time. So you unwrap that paper there, and again, there wasn't a taste like it. It didn't taste like ice cream. It tasted like family. You know, so I am, you know, way past those days, and I can still. I'm talking to you, and I have those memories. I can almost taste the palate right now, just talking to you about it. And that's why those things were special to me. And you know, people who have now been through the experience of reading the book and so on, reach out to me all the time and say, "You really, really, you know, caught me with this one."
Yeah.
You know,
You took them on a trip down memory lane.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know, that book has 60 different items captured in it. And different things appeal to different people. There's something in that book for everybody. People would tell you, you know what really, really caught me? And they would say, this particular thing. And if you'd give me 10 guesses, I probably wouldn't have guessed that for that person.
You know, my father, when he was alive, would take joy in talking about his youth and the days and the simplicity of life, and drinking fresh cow milk and you know, those experiences he kept with him and tried in his very best to leave those memories with us. He would always cherish those days growing up in the country and, you know, the simplicity of life. Yeah. And, you know, in my mind as a child, you would always try to live or have those images and understand what a beautiful time and place that must have been.
And, you know, the good thing is they're not gone forever.
They're not gone.
The technology that's available today is now allowing us to revisit those times. Maybe a little bit differently, but we're able to revisit them. And I'll, you know, later on in the conversation, I'll come back to that. But, you know, we haven't lost anything as yet. We are in danger of losing it just because we are not telling our stories anymore. And
Very
you know,
true.
if we don't tell our stories, we have very strong oral traditions. If we don't tell our stories, somebody else is going to tell our story, and we may not like what we hear. So we need to be the stewards of our past and our future.
Absolutely true. And when it comes especially to our children, what we impart, that is what they will take away. And so that is also very important.
Absolutely.
This is a program, Conversations with Zelisa. Let's go to some important messages. When we return, we continue our conversation about preserving our culture and who we are, loving ourselves. Yeah? Let's go to these messages. Stay with us.
Macon Construction Company Limited. Save big whilst building stronger. We build with our Macon innovative building systems, which provides high wind speed, earthquake, sea blast and fire resistance. Is thermally and acoustically insulated. Provides improved construction timelines and cost savings. We provide construction services from design to finish and everything in between. Macon Construction Company Limited. Building green today with tomorrow's technology. Contact or visit us today.
Let's get straight to the point. I am Dale Edwards, Dale the Voice, and we're going to get straight to the point right here on Real TV. Join me Monday to Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. when we talk the hard truth. We're not beating around the bush. We're getting straight to the point, dealing with real issues, social, politics, and much more. Monday to Friday, the only place to be is right here on Real TV.
The Ambassador's Daughter, weekdays at 11 a.m., only on Real TV.
Welcome back to Conversations with Zelisa right here on Real TV, where we bring reality to you. Today I'm in conversation with a true son of this soil who's really trying to preserve who we are, our culture, the very beginning, the roots, you know, and now of course the tree's been planted, the fruit we're bearing. I'm speaking about Mr. Richard A. J. Ramirez. Welcome back. Author, publisher, photographer, and he's here talking to us about his journey and you know how much he's leaving for us and our children. This is remarkable.
Well, I am really trying to, you know, I have been called all sorts of titles recently in the last few years, you know, photographer, author, publisher, historian, cultural preservationist.
Yes.
Those are all well and fine. My greatest sense of pride is when I'm called Trinbagonian.
Oh.
That is absolutely a huge thing for me. People do not seem to understand what that means. It really does mean so much to me. We have a beautiful country, two beautiful islands.
Absolutely.
You know, if you gave me a choice of where I want to go for a quick vacation, Tobago would be it. And Tobago means beach for me. But Tobago is so much more than just beaches.
Absolutely true.
So much more.
You know, Tobago for me, whenever I describe Tobago, it's like a slice of heaven.
Yeah.
The moment you land in Tobago, there is a feeling of freedom, a feeling of I could relax and just enjoy
Correct.
my soul and reconnect, you know.
I used to go up to Charlottesville frequently to scuba dive when I was a lot younger and a few pounds lighter. And we used to have these tourists coming into Charlottesville and they'd be hustling coming down the street and we would stop them. Hold on, sir. You need to slow down. You're in Tobago. You can't walk that fast. and they would laugh, and you see them a week later, and there they are strolling coming down the road because they've gotten into the spirit of what Tobago is. Yeah. Tobago is not slow. Tobago is very deliberate. But Tobago means taking your time and enjoying life, you know, chewing on that bone and sucking out the marrow of life from it. That's what Tobago is, you know. But yeah, so my journey has been very interesting for me. I get to see things and share things locally. I don't have to go anywhere to do it. I can do it right here. A good example is I took a picture of the Péchier Cemetery. Now, the Péchier Cemetery is a cemetery which sits in the middle of the Queen's Park Savannah, which most people
How many of you
don't
knew
know.
that? How many of you knew that? I didn't.
Well, I want to tell you that most of Trinidad and Tobago is not aware of that. Even I didn't know it growing up. I knew there was a cemetery there because growing up in Bossier, just off the Savannah in Maraval, the Savannah was my playground. So I remember there used to be a standpipe on the wall of the Péchier Cemetery where we used to go and drink water when we were through romping and so on. But we had no idea of what was really behind those walls. So the Péchier Cemetery sits behind a 7 or 8 foot stone wall. And we knew it was a cemetery, but growing up we were told that when jockeys fell off their horses during the races in the savannah, that's where they used to bury them. Which was absolutely not true, which we found out much later on. But the Péchier Cemetery actually came from the fact that that whole savannah was an estate before. During the cedula of population, the Spanish wanted to get Trinidad populated. So they invited French planters from Martinique and Guadeloupe and up the islands to come to Trinidad, bring your slaves with you, come and farm a piece of land. We'll give you some land to farm. So that area was part of the estate that was given to the Péchier family. The father died first, and then a couple of his sons died, and they were buried in that area, which was on the estate.
Right.
Generations later, the Spanish government purchased the estate from the Péchier family so they can use it for grazing of cattle and for recreation for the people of Port of Spain. So the savannah was sold to the government for £6,000, which was paid over 3 years in installments of £2,000. And the only proviso was that 5,000 square feet of land would always remain private property in the hands of the family so they could bury their people there. And to this day, the heirs of the Péchier family still bury people in that cemetery. There's over 60 graves in there. And I think the last burial was probably 5 to 8 years ago.
Okay.
So as recently as that. But people walk that savannah every day. We have thousands of people walking the savannah.
Correct.
Even more thousands driving it. And people keep telling me, wow, I didn't know that was there.
Yeah.
So just for you people, in case you want to know, if you came up from Cipriani Boulevard and you passed the U.S. Embassy, got to that first corner, you stand at that corner and turn your head to the right, and you're going to see the cemetery about 50 meters into the savannah. There'll be a 7 or 8 foot stone wall around it. That's what it is. There's lights out there at night as well, so you can more easily identify it. And that's just one of the wonderful surprises that Trinidad and Tobago holds for us when we go and we investigate it. So I guess the next question is, how do we now get this knowledge out of these books and into the heads of the next generation?
Into the classrooms. That's where you want it.
We need to get it being discussed in the classrooms, which it's really not happening at the level in which it needs to happen. It's not part of our syllabus. It's not even really involved in our extracurricular activities. We need to figure out different ways to get this there. So these books were done as a way to capture it, and it's a very, very simple layout for the books. Primarily, if I can open one and show you
Sure,
here.
I just love this
Yeah.
first picture. It's really very beautiful and well put together, Mr. Ramirez. I have to congratulate you,
Thank
and
you.
applaud you. Rattan weaving.
Things that we don't do as often as we used
No,
to.
and this picture is so real and alive.
Yeah. But the layout is actually simple. One page is going to carry a full color photo.
Lovely.
Yeah. And the other page has a little bit of a
embroidery.
narrative. Just so that you have an idea of what's the significance of the image you're seeing.
Absolutely. How did you capture this picture?
Well, that actually, I used our modern technology to do that particular picture.
Ah, so are we
But
talking AI?
We are talking AI. So that book is where I started using a little bit of AI, and then I moved on to it in full for the next book, which was
Yes, look
our
at the
folklore
soap
spirits.
making,
Yeah,
boiling of hams.
yeah. Where we used to get
This
these old
is-
tar hams.
Yes.
Yeah,
Dancing the cocoa. This is beautiful. Baking bread in a dirt oven.
there's no other taste like it. Yes, no other taste like it.
Here we spoke about the ice cream, and I wish we could capture some of these pictures. Really very beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Well put together. How can we get ourselves a copy of these books?
Well, the books are available at a number of bookstores, like the paper-based bookstore in Woodbrook. They're in Westport and Movie-Town Mall at Shock and Stock. They're in
Wonderful gift items.
Yep, they're in Long Circular Mall at Carinix.
Yes.
So we have a few places where we have them, Scribbles and Quills in Chaguanas. And of course, through my own website at richardramirezimaging.com. So they're
They make
easily
good
available.
gifts.
Yep. They really have been used as gifts for a lot of things. I think probably the strangest use, or the one that surprised me the most, is that people started buying them as wedding gifts. And I did not envision that. But they've been used as wedding gifts, birthday gifts, people who travel. The first two have been used as diplomatic gifts for several years when our ministers and prime ministers travel.
Great
So
idea.
they're building some traction.
Very nice.
But I want to do something that will capture people's attention even more.
Yeah.
So I started printing these images onto glass. So I print directly to glass. I used to use photographic paper, then I transitioned into canvas, and then I went to aluminum. I did wood, and then I found glass. And glass,
Beautiful.
I cannot begin to describe what the images look like on glass. I recently was invited to exhibit my work at the Napa Hotel. Most people don't know that Napa has a hotel, but the hotel is on the back half of Napa. It's a 54-room hotel. And I was invited to do an exhibition there, so I exhibited for 16 days in there. We had about 100 pieces on glass.
Nice.
And we had a little over 1,200 visitors come through the space.
Beautiful.
And to a man, everybody was just blown away by not just the images, but how the images presented on glass. And they said, man, I can't believe that's really us. And strangely enough, that was the name of the exhibition, This Is Us. Because it really was, come take a look at who we are and what we are. And it's more than just these books.
And those pieces are for sale now, currently?
They are for sale, and I'm planning 2 more exhibitions. One is coming up soon at Stolmeyer's Castle.
Oh, I'd love to know more about that. I'd love to attend.
Yeah, as soon as we have a firm date, it's going to be probably within the next month or so.
Beautiful.
We'll be happy to share it because all these exhibitions are free. This is not about selling anything. It's about giving you a chance to come and see yourself through a different lens.
Oh, yes. You
That's
see
all this
life
is.
differently. I'd love to take my daughter and I. That would be a beautiful experience, exploring
Yeah.
all of these photos and, talking about it, discussing it, having meaningful conversations.
And the exhibition is broken into 5 sections. So we started off with the night skies, astrophotography. I do a lot of astro, so I have a lot of beautiful images of the Milky Way, billions of stars. And that seemed to have caught people. And then from there, we moved into the buildings and landmarks. Then we moved into hummingbirds, another one of my things that I love. We moved in from there to dance and movement.
Lovely.
And then we ended up with folklore, because folklore has literally become part of my spirit.
Hold that thought. We'll talk about that spirit and that book there that's drawing attention. As you say, it seems to be very connected to you.
This little book?
This little book, when we return. So do stay with us. This is a program, Conversations with Zelisa. Let's go to these messages. Stay with us. I am Zelisa Singh Rupani, inviting you to join me for the rebirth of Apne Sitare, Our Stars, a vibrant and spectacular show celebrating the incredible local talents of the sons and daughters of Trinidad and Tobago. Experience the beauty of our culture through singing, dancing, and musical performances as we keep the arts alive and shining bright. Tune in right here on Real TV every Sunday from 1 p.m. for Apne Sitare, Our Stars. See you there.
When security matters most, choose Catch Security Services Limited. We are proudly approved by the Ministry of Homeland Security. We protect your home, business, community, and much more. Our services include professional baton and armed officers, specialized K-9 units, mobile patrols, secure cash pickups, secure transport, and pepper spray applications and supply coming soon. Don't wait. Secure your assets now. Contact Catch Security today. Call 622-6601, email info@cssl-tt.com, or visit our office at 30-32 Saddle Road, Maraval.
In a world full of noise, choose clarity. The Real News digital publication is your choice for important news coverage. From influential figures shaping our nation to a powerful week in review that keeps you informed. The weekly edition is available for download on all of our social media platforms. Smart, sharp, essential. Real News digital publication. Stay informed, stay educated, stay empowered. Welcome back to Conversations with Zelisa right here on Real TV, where we bring reality to you, to all of our local, regional, international viewers. Thank you so much for choosing us. A gentle reminder to like the program and share it because it's beautiful and great information. Today I'm in conversation with Mr. Richard A.J. Ramirez, photographer, publisher, and he's here to talk to us about his dynamic work when it comes to preserving our culture. This is awesome. I am in awe of your brilliant work, and I can't help but say it openly. These are things or books that our children should be reading. Should appreciate life a little better.
Absolutely. I mean, if you don't know what we are, you can't appreciate who we are. You can't enjoy who we are, celebrate it, and take it to the next level.
Of course.
So we were talking about the books before we went to that last break there. And
talking about this particular one, right?
This is actually my favorite. This is my folklore book.
That's your baby?
That is my baby. It's my most recent book. This was released in the beginning of November last year.
Okay.
If we speak about folklore characters with the average Trinbagonian, you're going to hear about maybe 5, 6, some could even give you 7 characters. I have 30 in here. I have characters in here that people say, whoa, we never heard about this. But depending on where in the country you are, you're going to hear about some more than others. So we have a number of folklore spirits in here, from the African spirits, East Indian spirits, European spirits. We have Amerindian spirits, a whole blend of them. And they're all very Trinbagonian in nature. But I will also say that in doing this book, what I recognized is that we are not as unique as we think we are. As much as Papa Boa, for example, is our guardian of the forest, the father of the forest, many other societies have similar characters. So if I told you, forget about Trinidad for a second, if I told you about someone who comes into your house and bites you and sucks your blood, who would you think about first?
The Sukuya.
Sukuya in Trinidad.
Yeah.
But overseas, who would you think of? A vampire.
Yes.
If I told you about someone who changes their shape and turns into an animal under the full moon, you would think probably of a werewolf, which is also our lagahu. So we have a lot of carryover, a lot of similarities to other cultures around the world, but we have our own Trinbagonian spin on it. So this book is actually, as I said, one of my favorite books. We get in here and we look at Papa Boa, for example. Get it, so. Then we go on to, so we get Papa Boa with a story about Papa Boa here. When you turn the page, you get a second page which gives you the origin story of the character.
Right.
And just an image that sort of symbolizes that the spirit was there.
Ah.
You know, same thing you go on to people like Mama de Lo.
Mama de Lu. Okay.
Yeah. Laja Bless.
Yeah.
And her follow-up picture is probably my favorite follow-up picture because we know Laja Bless has a cloven hoof and a regular thing.
Right.
And the spirit was there. Is just a beautiful picture of a European type shoe.
Vintage looking shoe, correct.
Correct. And that's enough to say she was there. But this book goes on and on with a number of these
30
characters.
plus characters.
30
as you
characters
said.
in this book.
Beautiful.
And I haven't stopped there because this book has been by far the biggest seller. People empty the shelves.
They're fascinated
Yeah,
about this
they
book. Yeah, it
absolutely
looks
are.
very, I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking this would be nice to take
Yeah.
my time and go through and read and, you know.
Yep, absolutely. So remember I told you when we started the conversation that this cannot just be about us. This has to be about the next generation. It is our responsibility to reach them where they are. We can't expect them to come find us where we are. You know, during that last exhibition that ended at Napa Hotel a couple of weeks ago, I had a class in because we were having morning sessions specifically to invite schools in. And I had a class in from one of the boys' schools, secondary school. And I asked a question. I said, how many of you have actually read a newspaper? And there was about 3 hands out of 30 that went up. And I said, okay, how many of you have seen a newspaper? And there was maybe 2 or 3 additional hands that went up. Most of them had never even seen a newspaper, which initially struck me as a little strange because I grew up in a household where we had newspapers every single
Every day.
And you started off as a young child reading the comic strip, and you would eventually graduate into reading the articles that interested you, and then move on to reading the whole thing. And that's how we evolved into gathering our news. This generation does not do that now. They don't get news through the newspaper.
No, we don't, and that's a little unfortunate, you know,
it-
actually holding and
yeah.
reading the newspaper.
Correct. And that's why books are important. I like that texture of the
And
book.
when I used to be on radio, it's something that I would say to my listeners all the time. Invest in a newspaper every day and allow your children to read and understand not only what is happening in Trinidad, but let them be aware of what's happening locally, regionally, let them be children of the world. Empower
Correct.
them. Reading, you know,
Correct.
spelling. These are things that we don't do with our children anymore. Why?
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. It's easy.
Correct. You're exactly correct. And we have lost that access to them through the newspapers and so on. But we haven't lost access. We just have to evolve. The same way we spoke about our traditions evolving, we have to do things differently. So if they're going to be on this all day, every day, let's put something on this that's going to give them that information. So I started off making some videos for the folklore book and for the Vanishing Arts and Traditions book. So I did a 10-minute video on the folklore and a 15-minute video on the Vanishing Arts and Traditions. Use AI to build it because folklore, I can't go out there and really record folklore. It's cost prohibitive and I wouldn't get exactly what I wanted, but with the use of AI now, I'm able to build just the right things.
And now we understand the, the dynamics of AI now in this day and age.
Correct.
How influential it has become, how important it has become, and is it taking away jobs?
Well, it's creating different jobs for us, and it allows creatives, for example, to express their creativity in a different way. So there is a balance to be found. We don't have to fear it. It was the same issue when we had cameras that used film, and we moved from film to digital. And there was this hue and cry, if you don't use film, then you're not a real photographer. And then that went away. Digital became the standard. Then we moved from the DSLRs into mirrorless cameras, and there was this big hue and cry, and that also went away. AI is just another tool. It does not replace creativity, it augments it.
Exactly, it enhances.
Correct.
I couldn't help but think when you're saying that we started off with the reel-to-reel archive, then we went to cassettes, then we went to CDs, then we went to, we evolve, but we don't forget. Correct,
absolutely. And these videos that I did, they're a real testament to that. I have had, so together they run at 25 minutes, and I had them running on a screen during the exhibition. Most unexpected thing ever happened. I thought people would pass, probably spend a minute or two, look at it a little bit and move on. Every single person that came through that exhibition stood and looked at not just the 10-minute thing, the whole 25 minutes.
Brilliant.
To the point where I had to bring in chairs. I did not know that, I didn't put any chairs there.
Yeah.
I had to bring in chairs. I think I ended up with about 15 chairs at the peak, so that people would sit there. And I had people that would look at it 2 times, 3 times.
Very nice.
And they would come back the next day and bring their friends and say,
couldn't get enough.
Yeah, let's go see it.
You must tell us and let us know about your next exhibition. I would love to attend, and I would love to share the information with our viewers. I'm sure you would love to attend as well. So you must make it a must to let us know so that we can advertise it and attend, more importantly.
I would appreciate it. And again, it's going to be free, just as everyone has been, because it's not about making money. This is about getting us in touch with ourselves.
Beautiful.
I'm also, right now, up to here, I'm really buried in work now, building a full-length feature film on folklore.
Excellent.
It's a featured documentary.
Excellent.
I expect it, when I'm complete, to be about 75 or 80 minutes. And I'm pretty close. Another month or two, you'll be hearing about it.
We welcome that. Your closing comments.
I guess what I would love Trinidad and Tobago to know is, we are beautiful, we are special, we need to celebrate who we are, what we are, enjoy it, and pass on to the next generation. Make sure that we leave this place in a better state than what we met it in, and we are ready to have that next generation take up the mantle and go forward. For them to do that, we have to arm them with the right information. So let's make sure it's available to them. Do your part to allow them to do their part.
Mr. Ramirez, our thanks and gratitude for you taking time off of your busy schedule to come and spend some time with us this morning to open the door so that we could understand that greatness of appreciation, respect and value for our culture. and we welcome the information so we can share it with our viewers when next you have this exhibition, so that we can be part of something that is dynamic and beautiful, and allow our children to be part of something that is theirs, you know, and we don't lose the essence of it. God bless you as you grow from strength to strength in all of your future endeavors, and I trust and hope we'll have other conversations.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
You're welcome. Looking forward. This is where we're going to wrap things up for today. Remember to be good law-abiding citizens, to do what is right at all times. Love yourselves, take care of yourselves, and here's reminding you that with God and only God, all things are possible. I am Zelisa Rupani. Thank you so much for choosing us. Stick and stay. Great programming continues. See you tomorrow.
The views and opinions expressed in the preceding program were those of the hosts, guests, and contributors, and do not reflect the official views of Real TV, its management, or affiliates. Content was provided for informational and entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion